we will start with the PA first. Let me share the slide. Boleh nampak the slide? Can you see the slide?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Power
Boleh,
of attorney.
Power of attorney. So we are going to discuss today on the topic of power of attorney. Power of attorney is commonly used in conveyancing transaction. Conveyancing transaction, kalau you meaning you go go through the file of conveyancing, SPA, sale and purchase or loan, you may come across the documents that we call a power of attorney. So today we are going to look at what is actually power of attorney, how it is created, and how we register it at the registry office, and how do we revoke or terminate the power of attorney. Surat wakil kuasa dalam bahasa Melayu. Okay. So power of attorney, basically a written document in which one person, the principal, appoints another person to act as an agent on his or her behalf. Yeah? A written document which one person appoints another person to act as an agent on his or her behalf, thus giving the agent the authority to perform certain legal, financial, or healthcare decision on behalf of the principal. This is what is meant by power of attorney. Yeah? A written document, satu dokumen di mana one person, seseorang, appoints another person, melantik seseorang yang lain bagi pihaknya, and by doing so, he is giving certain authority to this person. Dia memberi certain kuasa kepada orang yang dilantik ni, attorney ni, to perform certain legal, financial or healthcare decision on behalf of the principal. Untuk membuat satu tindakan, keputusan bagi pihak the principal, orang yang memberi kuasa tadi. That is what we call power of attorney. But what is the keywords dalam ni? What is the keywords in the definition? Anyone?
As an agent.
Agent, okay. There is a word agent there.
On
Lagi?
her behalf.
On her behalf, agent on her behalf, on his or her behalf. Lagi?
Giving the authority.
Giving the authority. So agent is given the authority.
Perform legal or financial healthcare decision.
Okay, untuk do certain things. Okay. Apa lagi keywords dalam definition ni?
Appoints.
Legal, financial and or healthcare decision.
Appoints, okay, appoints. To do certain legal, financial, okay, to do certain things. Lagi apa?
Written document.
Yeah, it is must be a written document. Yeah, it must be a written document in the form of a deed. In the form of a deed. Dia misalnya suatu dokumen yang bertulis. So that is the keywords dalam the definition. Okay, so these are other definition. A power of attorney is a document which expressly appoints another, either a natural person or a person as a corporation, who have the capacity to act on behalf of that person or party. Okay, so definition under Stamp Act means an instrument except a warrant to act as a solicitor in any judicial proceeding empowering a specific person to act in the stead of the person executing it. So these are all definition of power of attorney. Okay, ni pun sama.
Betul.
Ya.
Memang itu je ke maksud dia? Macam wide sangat.
Ya betul. Kita dia definition dia sangat wide. Power of attorney ni surat wakil kuasa ialah when you give your power, you appoint someone and giving him power to act on your behalf. Tapi nanti kita akan tengok macam mana you can limit the power or you can actually limit in terms of time and also limit in terms of the authority to do something. Okay, so kita tengok satu lagi definition. The power of attorney is an instrument where one person formally authorize another to act as his agent. The donor, the person who give the power, we call it the donor, effect an instrument, tadi kita kata a written instrument, to appoint the donor and donee, his attorney under the power. And the result of appointing the donee as attorney is to enable the donee to act for the donor generally or in a specific transaction or series of transaction. So ini another definition dalam buku Judisi Hombing National Land Code Commentary. So basically, macam Imran kata tadi, the definition dia sangat general. Yang the idea ialah saya melantik seseorang untuk membuat sesuatu bagi pihak diri saya. Sesuatu tu mungkin sesuatu yang spesifik atau sesuatu yang umum, dan mungkin sesuatu tu boleh jadi dalam satu tempoh masa yang tertentu or there is unlimited time to do it. Okay. So basic features. So tadi we have look at the definition. Now we look at the basic features of a power of attorney. It is formed via a document or instrument that is formal as opposed to informal. Tadi kita kata it must be a written document. Okay. So it is designed to effect a relationship whereby one person represent another person. And the third features of it is there may be limits to the scope of the representation. So it can be limited or unlimited representation. So these are three basic features of a power of attorney. Okay. So the purpose of giving power of attorney can be for commercial reason, can be in the situation of family or a person who is not in the capacity to do something. Contohnya an elderly or a sick person who cannot move around, so they want to give their power to someone else to represent them to do something. Contohnya kalau let's say ayah ni he is sick or bedridden and he cannot move around anymore, so he give a power of attorney to the son or to the child, to one of his children to act on his behalf. Contohnya untuk pergi bank, untuk sign dokumen, untuk sign dokumen bagi pihak dia kalau ada related to any medical issues and so on. So it can be in that sense. Or a power of attorney also can be used for a person who residing abroad. Contohnya dia tinggal di UK dan dia lantik seorang attorney on his behalf in Malaysia to do anything on his behalf related to matters in Malaysia. So this is basically the purpose of power of attorney, but more commonly used in commercial transaction. Contohnya kalau kita tengok most of the time in development, in a housing development or construction area, where let's say a developer want to develop a project and the land is actually owned by an individual. So project ni nak dibangunkan oleh satu syarikat pemaju. So normally this individual as a landowner, dia tak nak kisah dah macam mana pemaju tu buat, as long as he get his money and whatever agreed dalam dia punya joint venture agreement to develop the land. So this landowner or the proprietor, normally we give a power of attorney to this developer to do anything on his behalf. Contohnya to sign borang 14A, to sign borang 14A atau to fill up any forms at the land office yang mana it must be done by the proprietor. It must be done by the proprietor. So this landowner can actually execute one power of attorney given to the developers company or one of the representative of the developers company to do anything related to the project on his behalf. So that is in commercial sense. Then we can also see that most of the loan documentation, because the bank is a corporate entity, normally the bank will actually give a power of attorney to sign the documents on its behalf to some of the officers of the bank. So kalau kita tengok documentation by bank, biasanya akan ditandatangani oleh certain officers who actually has power of attorney to act or to sign on behalf of the bank. Okay, so this is how it works in commercial sense. Okay, types of power of attorney. So there are two types of power of attorney. It can be limited power of attorney or unlimited power of attorney. So limited power of attorney related to limited time or limited purpose, and it expires upon completion of time or objective of the PA. So limited purpose saja. You lantik seseorang untuk buat sesuatu saja. Contohnya A appoints B as his attorney to sell this particular land. So when this land is sold, then the power of attorney given to B will expire. So that is for limited time and for limited purpose. Secondly, unlimited power of attorney, unlimited time and unlimited purpose. Secara umum, contohnya seorang ayah execute a power of attorney appointing one of his sons to actually act on his behalf in all related matters, So sama ada berkenaan dengan urusan pejabat tanah, urusan bank, any other matters, dia secara umum melantik orang ini macam melaksanakan apa-apa saja urusan berkaitan dengan diri dia. So that is unlimited time and unlimited purpose. So it valid until the donor, the person who give the power, withdraw the power given with the consent from the donee or renounced by the donee, or either the donor or the donee has died, unsound mind, or adjudged bankrupt. So this is two types of power of attorney, limited and unlimited. Another aspect of the power of attorney is whether it is revocable or irrevocable. Maknanya boleh dibatalkan atau tidak boleh dibatalkan. So revocable of power of attorney, the donor, the person who give the power may revoke the PA at any time without the consent from the donee. At any time without the consent from the donee. So this is revocable PA. Contohnya, the father appoint the eldest son to do something on his behalf, to sell the land. But next day he changed his mind. He want to appoint the second son to do the job. So this is revocable power of attorney. The donor may revoke the PA at any time without the need to get the consent from the eldest son just now. Okay. So the second type is irrevocable power of attorney. The donor cannot revoke the PA. The donor, the person who give the PA, cannot revoke the PA except with the consent from the donee. Except with the consent from the donee or renounced by the donee, meaning the donee, orang yang diberi kuasa tu menolak ataupun renounce the power given to him, or either the donor or the donee has died, unsound mind, or adjudged bankrupt. So this is two types of power of attorney, revocable or irrevocable power of attorney. Okay. So irrevocable power of attorney, there are certain conditions to it. to render irrevocable an authority under a power of attorney, or to render irrevocable power of attorney, it must not only be clearly expressed to be irrevocable, meaning in the written documents, it clearly mentioned that this power of attorney is irrevocable. It must also be coupled with an interest. It must also be coupled with an interest. So this is explained in Clerk versus Lowry and Lowry. The court held that what is meant by an authority coupled with an interest being irrevocable is this, that where an agreement is entered into a sufficient consideration, whereby an authority is given for the purpose of securing some benefit to the attorney, such an authority is irrevocable. Ini irrevocable power of attorney ni, dua syarat dia. Dia mestilah expressly mention, then it must be coupled with an interest. Mesti ada certain consideration given to the other party, given to the donee. Tengok contoh dia. Dalam situasi irrevocable power of attorney we give to the bank. Normally when we obtain loan from bank, there is a power of attorney given to the bank to do all things on our behalf during the period of the loan. So dalam tempoh pinjaman tu, salah satu clause dalam dokumen kat bank tu, kalau dalam property without title tu, dia memang ada specific clause power of attorney, specific document. Kita akan sign loan agreement, deed of assignment and power of attorney. Power of attorney. So in the documents power of attorney itu, we are giving power to the bank to do anything on our behalf with respect to the land, or with respect to the security during the period of the loan. During the period of the loan. So kalau loan tu 30 tahun, meaning the irrevocable power of attorney is valid for 30 years. For 30 years, you tak boleh sebagai pemilik tanah tu revoke this power of attorney because it comes with certain consideration. The PA is given to the donor, to the donee, subject to some valuable consideration. Example, A borrows RM50,000 from B. As a consideration, A surrendered his land and created a power of attorney in B's favor, granting B power to develop lands until the debt settled. So ini contoh dia. The PA is valid until the debt settled, meaning the PA is irrevocable until the debt settled. Okay. So tadi donor and donee. Tengok satu isu dalam kes Lim Eng Chuan Sendam Berhad and United Malayan Banking Corporation. This issue relates to whether we can give a power of attorney to a company. Selalunya power of attorney ni kita bagi kepada individual, kepada orang untuk act on our behalf. So the issue arise in this case is whether we can give a power of attorney to a company. Contohnya, kita bagi surat kuasa kepada contohnya Amanah Raya untuk do something on our behalf related to our property. So is it a valid power of attorney? So in this Lim and Chuan Sendam Berhad case, the first respondent, the bank, had granted the appellant an overdraft facility secured by a debenture, which included a fixed charge over 7 pieces of land and a charge under National Land Code over the lands. So this bank actually give a loan to this company, to this person, with respect to an overdraft facility, satu pinjaman. Then security for the loan is by way of debenture. You all dah belajar kan debenture dalam Companies Act, dalam company. Debenture dan juga dia ada dalam bentuk fixed charge. Debenture ni dia charge all the assets of the company. So in the debenture normally contain an irrevocable power of attorney granted by this borrower to the bank. So dalam debenture memang ada satu provision atau satu clause with regard to irrevocable power of attorney. However, the appellant defaulted the facility and was wound up. UMBC gave notice that it would exercise its power under the PA to sell the land. So, the borrower defaulted the loan, so the bank, UNBC, gave notice to him that they are going to exercise the power under the debenture to sell the land, to actually crystallize the asset to cover the debt. So the issue, one of the issues in this case is that, can a power of attorney for valuable consideration and expressed to be irrevocable be granted by a company as donor as opposed to natural person? So soalan dia, adakah donor ni a company can grant a power of attorney to the bank? Donor ni, pemberi ni ialah bank, pemberi ni adalah syarikat, syarikat Lim and Chuan Sandian Berhad. So this is the issue that they are trying to oppose with regards to the power of attorney. Okay. So the court held in this case, in view of the construction of Section 3(1)(a) of the Power of Attorney Act and Section 35(6) of the Companies Act, a company or corporation is competent to create a power of attorney. So maksudnya dalam kes ni court kata, tak kiralah you individu ke, you company ke, you can actually give a power of attorney to the other party. Okay. So this is nexus between power of attorney and law of contract, because when we look at the power of attorney, there is actually a nature of contract in that transaction. Contohnya, the person who want to give the power must have the capacity to enter into the contract. The donor tu mestilah ada capacity to enter into the contract. Then there is also a relationship between agent and principal. And then there must be also an agreement, free consent of parties to enter into the contract. So sama element of the contract tu is applicable in creating a power of attorney. Okay. So the law pertaining to power of attorney is come under Power of Attorney Act 1949. There are 15 sections in this act. Dia akta yang nipis saja, applicable only in Peninsular Malaysia. So dia ada 15 section applicable in Peninsular Malaysia, dan dia ada 2 schedule dekat belakang. So this is the Power of Attorney Act. Okay. Now, we know that the power of attorney is created by virtue of this Power of Attorney Act, but because normally the power of attorney is given to another person to deal with properties, to deal with the properties. So it has a relationship with the National Land Code. It has the relationship with National Land Code. So kalau let's say satu-satu transaksi tu was executed by virtue of the power of attorney given to the person, so Section 309, 310 and 311 of National Land Code will be applicable. Contohnya, pemaju ni dia tanda tangan Borang 14A bagi pihak pemilik tanah, proprietor. So there is a power of attorney given by this proprietor to the developer. So this power of attorney must be actually registered at the land office. Registered at the land office. The power of attorney itself, bawah akta Power of Attorney Act, must be registered at the High Court. Dia proses dia, once you have signed the PA, you dah grant a power to the person to do on your behalf. So this document, in order to be valid, must be executed by the donor and donee, must be in the written form, must be registered at the High Court. Must be registered at the High Court. So kita tengok dulu requirements yang bawah National Land Code Section 309, 3110 and 311 of the NLC. Okay. So Section 309 mention, if the instrument presented for registration has been executed on behalf of a person or body under a power of attorney, it shall be accompanied by an office copy and a copy for retention by the registrar. Okay, so maksudnya bila sesuatu dokumen tu, contohnya borang 14A ni ditandatangani menggunakan surat kuasa wakil. Maknanya orang yang tanda tangan tu dia sign on behalf of other person. So when you go and present this borang 14A, you must provide a copy of the power of attorney which has been duly registered dekat High Court kepada pejabat tanah. So pejabat tanah will actually check whether this power of attorney has complied with the requirement under the Power of Attorney Act. So itu maksud Section 309. So maksudnya kalau you daftar apa-apa instrumen kat pejabat tanah yang melibatkan tanda tangan oleh orang yang mewakili seseorang melalui surat kuasa wakil, a copy of the PA must be submitted to the land office, presented for registration. It shall be accompanied by, ini dilampirkan sekali. Okay. Where a copy of the PA has been filed by the registrar, it shall not be necessary to send a further copy with any instrument subsequently executed under the same power. Okay. Contohnya, pemaju ni dia ada 40 unit rumah. 40 unit rumah. So, the first transaction masuk hari ni dia dah lampirkan PA yang dia tanda tangani oleh proprietor. So the first MOT dah masuk, dah register dengan PA tu. So next day another lot sold dan dia nak daftar another borang 14A. So dia menggunakan surat kuasa wakil yang sama. So for the following transaction, the developer does not need to accompany this power of attorney to the land office. Cukup dengan yang pertama yang dah daftar tu. So subsequent transaction just use the same document. Itu maksud dia where a copy of the PA has been filed by the registrar, it shall not be necessary to send a further copy with any instrument subsequently executed. Itu maksud bawah section 309 ni. Okay. 3010 and 311. The registrar shall compare the copy with the office copy. On registering the instrument, file the compact copy, note the existence of the compact copy, and return the office copy or original PA to the person who registered the PA. So ini adalah the action that need to be done by the registrar bila ada power of attorney attached with the documents. Dia mestilah membandingkan dokumen yang original yang didaftarkan di High Court dengan salinan tu dan dengan nombor yang ditulis dalam borang 14A itu. Sebab nanti dekat borang 14A itu kalau kita tanda tangan melalui power of attorney, dia akan tulis kat situ jilid folio number pendaftaran PA di pejabat tanah. Okay. So section 311, in determining the fitness for registration, the registrar may require from the attorney or his principal a statutory declaration or other evidence upon oath or affirmation that the PA was at all material times still in force. So registrar ni kalau dia ada rasa suspicious berkenaan dengan PA tu, dia nampak PA ni macam daripada tahun 1946 contohnya, lama lah PA ni. So under 311, the registrar has a power to actually do inquiries. Minta sama ada the donor or the donee to prepare a statutory declaration stating that this PA is still in force, masih lagi sah. Maknanya orang yang bagi PA ni tak pernah revoke the PA. But shall not require proof of the due execution of any PA where the document delivered was an office copy. So, tapi the registrar is not bound to check the validity of the document, sama ada dokumen tu ditandatangani oleh orang yang betul atau tidak. Tadi kalau power yang pertama tadi dia cuma nak check sama ada the PA tu masih valid atau tidak. Tapi the power is not go beyond requiring proof that the due execution of the document is valid or not. So this is under section 311 of the National Land Code. Okay. So the PA of attorney, the power of attorney must actually complies with the requirements under the Power of Attorney Act. One of it is actually on the authentication. If the PA is executed within Peninsular Malaysia, authentication maksud dia apa? Apa maksud authentication? Anyone? Pengesahan. Ya, pengesahan maksudnya PA ni, contohnya Ali memberi kuasa kepada Abu untuk jual tanah dia. So Ali dah tanda tangan, Abu dah tanda tangan. So the tanda tangan, the authentication by Ali dengan Abu ni must be done by this person. If the PA is executed within Peninsular Malaysia, it must be authenticated by the magistrate, Justice of Peace, Land Administrator, Notary Public, Commissioner for Oath, Advocates and Solicitor, Bank Officer carrying on the business of banking in Peninsular Malaysia and incorporated under local laws. So dokumen tu mestilah di-authenticated by this person. Kalau dokumen ditandatangan di Malaysia. Sebab dalam PA tu nanti beside the witness punya signature tu, dia ada satu lagi jadual dekat belakang tu. This is we call authentication clause. Kat belakang jadual 1 dengan jadual 2 tu. Okay. If the PA is executed outside Peninsular Malaysia pula, Notary Public, Commissioner for Oath, British Council, Consular Officer of Malaysia, Malaysian Pilgrimage Commissioner in Saudi Arabia, Advocate and Solicitor of Singapore, Singaporean Bank Officer in Singapore and so on. Ini ada dalam list dalam PA tu, dalam PA Act. Okay. So authentication by the person above must in the form prescribed in the Power of Attorney Act. So ada form dia. Form 1 authentication form for individual donor and form 2 authentication form for company or corporation donor. Ni lawyer ke atau commissioner for oath tu dia kena tanda tangan dekat borang tu mengatakan yang dokumen ni ditanda tangani oleh orang sekian-sekian lah. Maksudnya boleh tengok di form 1 dan form 2 tu. Okay. So in Wan Salimah binti Wan Jaafar, it was held that the validity of power of attorney is dependent on its execution before certain named personalities and must be authenticated in the appropriate form set down in the first schedule of the powers of attorney. So execution dengan authentication ni is very important untuk determine the validity of the PA. Okay. So tadi it must be registered at the High Court, it must be stamped and subject to payment of requisite fees. So PA ni once dah sign, dah ditandatangani, dah di-authenticate by the appropriate person, dia mestilah didaftarkan di Mahkamah Tinggi. Okay. So how to register power of attorney at court? 2 sets of power of attorney documents must be prepared. One original copy of the PA document for own safekeeping and a duplicate copy of the original to be filed and deposited in court. So you prepare at least 2 salinan, biasanya kita prepare 4 salinan lah. Lawyer pun nak simpan kopi dia. So 1 salinan original you punya dan 1 duplicate kopi tu kita register dekat court dan nanti court akan chalk dekat kita punya original copy tu certain macam remarks lah dekat atas tu. So who can register a power of attorney document? Either the donor or the donee may register his or her power of attorney documents or by any lawyer presenting such documents at the Power of Attorney Registration Office, High Court Kuala Lumpur, or any registration office in High Court in West Malaysia. Okay, so ni registration fee untuk power of attorney ni diikut pages, diikut pages per sheet. Dia ada registration fee RM25, deposit RM10, ni bayaran yang you kena bayar dekat kaunter dekat mahkamah tu. Dan nanti fee dia juga bergantung kepada jumlah pages kepada power attorney tu RM2 satu pages. Prior to maknanya execution page tak masuk. Contohnya PA you muka depan tak kira, ada 5 line dalam ni. So 5 line ni RM10 lah. RM2 satu page. RM10 campur 25 campur 10. So jadi dalam RM45 pendaftaran cost to register the PA. So revocation pun sama, registration RM10 dan dia ada fee yang sama untuk berapa pages, fee per printed sheet. Okay. Ini contoh makluman lah daripada pejabat High Court berkenaan dengan fee. Okay, revocation of power of attorney, it can be revoked or renounced or it can be extinguished. Revocation will take place by way of notice in writing by the donors. Revocation, donors revocation or the donors renunciation. Maksudnya dua-dua belah pihak, kalau yang revocable PA tu diorang boleh bagi notis mengatakan yang PA tu telah pun dibatalkan, ataupun sebenarnya by even the donor when he do something with regards to the property which indicates that he no longer requires the donee punya representative, it also may amounting to revocation. There has been deposited in every office in which the appointment was required to be deposited. Then lepas you revoke tu, you mesti go to back to the High Court and batalkan power tu, power of attorney. So power of attorney ni you register, bila you nak batalkan you kena pergi balik kat pejabat High Court untuk revoke the power of attorney. So you akan prepare satu dokumen which they call it revocation of power of attorney. So dalam tu you mention lah power attorney yang lama tu dibuat bila, then now you are revoking it. So you kena daftarkan kat pejabat tanah High Court, dan High Court akan record dan dia akan pulangkan dokumen yang you deposit tadi tu. So it can also extinguish by the death of the donor or the donee, the bankrupt of the donor or the donee has become unsound mind. Okay, so this is how the PA can be revoked or renounced and extinguished. Okay. Lastly, on the land scam involving PA. So if we can see from the cases reported, there are also many cases whereby the land fraud was executed through through using a forged PA or invalid PA. For example, use of PA that has already expired or cancelled, use of PA where the donor or the
Adam, I think we lost you. We lost. Imran, you there?
Yes.
boleh slide itu masih ada ke?
Ada lagi doktor?
Ada lagi Sekejap, saya kata balik ke tadi.
Hello.
Hello Yan.
Hello, Fakrul. Azim.
Syauqi.
Si tak nak komen macam judge lah.
Depan ke belakang?
Kau nak bawa.
Mungkin boleh stop recording dulu kot. Oh, dah tak apa.
Okay, boleh nampak balik? Ada isu, ada
Boleh,
masalah.
madam.
Okay, itu sama sikit lagi nak habis dah. Untuk tadi power of attorney. Okay, so tadi we are talking about LAM scam involving power of attorney. So use of the PA that has already expired or cancelled. Use the PA where the donor or donee has already passed away, forged PA and fake court seal and forged signature. So these are among the modus operandi of the fraudsters lah in using power of attorney as an instrument to commit the fraud. So kita tengok beberapa kes. Dalam kes Jamaliah binti Haji Mahsudi and Sivam anak lelaki Munusami. In this case, the ownership of the land was transferred to the second defendant by using a PA which was found to be defective, as one of the donors had died 3 years prior to the granting of the PA. So PA itu dah tak valid sebenarnya. So it was held in this case that since the transfer of the land in favour of the second defendant was affected by means of fundamentally flawed PA, the transfer would be also be similarly flawed and ineffective. So tak valid lah dia punya transaction. Another case, Tang Ying Hong and Tan Sen Seng, as I believe all of you know about this case, pasal indivisibility of title. So this case also, the fraud was committed using a forged PA. The appellant was the registered owner of the land, which was charged to the third respondent bank as a security for loans made in favour of the second respondent. So the first respondent had executed the charges in favour of the third respondent bank under a forged PA, as the appellant never signed the PA. So in this case, Tang Ying Hong is the owner of the land, and someone actually forged his signature and created a PA as if he had actually given a PA to this person to charge the land to this bank, third respondent bank, UMBC bank if not mistaken. So this, meaning the charge was executed by this Tan Siang Sang as an attorney to Mr. Tang Ying Hong. And the charge was given to the second respondent, Mrs. Chini Timber. But the appellant, Mr. Tang Ying Hong, denied that he had given any PA to this person, Tan Siang Sang, and actually challenged the bank's foreclosure action against the land. So in this case, since it was never disputed that the charges created against the appellant were based on a forged PA, thus the charge was liable to be set aside by the appellant. So in this case, the appellant managed to get back his land, and the charge in favour of the bank has been set aside because in this case, the bank is the immediate person who get the land through the fraud action by this person, Tan Siang Sang. So this is another example of where a forged PA was used to commit land fraud. Okay, another case, Lau Huat Cheng another and Rosny Tony another appeals. In this case, the fraudulent act was committed by the elder brother of the respondent. So the elder brother of the respondent, by forging the power of attorney purportedly granted by their late parents. So dua beradik, So abang ni dia forge the signature of the late parents. So buat satu PA seolah-olah ayah dia bagi kuasa kepada dia untuk jual tanah tu. So the elder brother actually sold the land to the third and fourth defendants, and dan banyak tangan dah sampai kepada 7 defendant dalam kes ni. So maknanya dah sampai ke pihak yang ketujuh selepas transaksi itu dibuat. In this case, the High Court and Court of Appeal were of the view that notwithstanding the appellants were bona fide purchaser for value to the property, their title was defeasible on the grounds that the transfer was effected through an insufficient instrument, and the appellants were the immediate and not subsequent purchasers of the property. It was also decided that since the property was no longer in their hands, they were therefore liable to pay damages to respondent. So dalam kes ni court kata walaupun dia they are bona fide purchaser, tapi but they are immediate benefit purchaser, but so the property the transaction has to be set aside. Tapi dalam kes sebab the land has actually transferred to few other person, so the only things that meaning court cannot order the land to be reinstated into the names of the respondent. So the court actually asked the appellant to pay the respondent damages. Tapi dekat federal court, the point of appeal to the federal court is with regard to the award of damages granted by the High Court and Court of Appeal against the appellant. So dalam kes ni, the appellant did not satisfied with the decision of the Court of Appeal stating that they have to pay damages to the respondent. So the federal court held that notwithstanding the respondent right of recovery of the land was beyond recall, federal court was of the opinion that since the land has actually transferred to several hands, so they have come under the definition of the bona fide subsequent purchaser, the respondent cannot recover their land anymore. And the court further observed that they cannot grant atau they cannot order the payment of damages because they don't have power to do so under section 340 of the National Land Code. And lastly, the court observed as claim for damages is based on in personam, the obligation arises out of the contract of tort. Since in this case the respondent failed to establish negligence on the part of the appellant, his only remedy was against his elder brother. So dalam kes ni, court was of the opinion that the respondent cannot recover his land and he also cannot sue the appellants because the court cannot award the damages under the power under section 3402. The only remedy that this respondent have is actually to sue his elder brother, to take an action in personam against his elder brother as the fraudsters in this case. So you can read further case ni, Lau Huat Cheng and Rosny Tony and another appeal. Okay, so boleh tengok lagi cases-cases yang lain related to PA power of attorney. So your further readings, you can read this Dr. Noraida Harun, land scams involving the power of attorney in land dealings in Malaysia, and also a good review or a good reports by Singapore Academy of Law Report on Law Reform Committee on Power of Attorney 2009. So I think that's all for the topic of power of attorney. So saya rasa itu last slide dah. Okay. So any question for the topic of power of attorney? Ada soalan? Hopefully clear lah. Dia just simple saja power of attorney ni, dia tak complicated lah dia punya discussion tu. Okay. Kalau tak ada soalan, I think kita break selama 5 minit. Dan kita akan sambung balik sedikit untuk discussion pasal Islamic loan, Islamic loan documentation. So kita break untuk 5 minutes dulu. Okay? Boleh?
Boleh tak?
Ya.
Nanti nak tanya yang untuk case review tu nak kena buat slide ke?
Buat slide better lah kot untuk sebab nak present kan.
Oh, okay madam. Thank you.
Okay, kita stop sekejap.
Terima kasih dia bagi.